What are the three things that actually matter when you go to sell your house? Number one is location. We've all heard it: location, location, location. Number two is the layout of your house. And number three is the price we list our house at. Nothing else matters other than those three things. And those three things are the most important, with price being the king of all those things. That's what you've really got to look at, is the price. Location. Let's talk about it a little bit. Location you can't really change. So when you buy that house, you need to make sure that that's somewhere that somebody else will want to live, not just you. So like for one thing, when you go look at a house, especially, we show a lot of houses in the country. So when you go look at something on 5 acres, it's not just where that house is for you. It's what's the neighbor's house look like? Does he have 487 cars sitting outside and not a single one of them run? Well, that may not be the best location. Even though you like the property, location really matters. So you got to be very specific on when you're buying something. Is this something that somebody else is going to like, or is this just me? We can't just overlook that the neighbor's house, has a junkyard. That's not ideal. So we got to really look at where we're buying and understand that this is what matters. Layout. Number two of all the things that matter is layout. The layout can be changed. So when you go look at a house, it doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, this isn't going to work for me, so I shouldn't buy it. That's not necessarily true. It's how much am I getting, is it going to cost me to make the layout work for me and work for majority of people. You don't want to change the layout of a house to only work for you, and then other people are going to be like, oh, that's kind of a weird layout. Doesn't really make sense in the grand scheme of how the house is set up. So, when you make adjustments to layout, make sure that you're making them for the most potential buyers that are going to be out there in the future. Now, if you want to change a bedroom into your arts and crafts room, that's fine for the time being. But when you go to sell it, you got to change it back. It's got to be a bedroom again, because most people don't want to do the arts and crafts room. They want to see that, hey, it's a 3 bedroom, not a 2 bedroom with an arts and crafts room. So when you make adjustments, when you change the layout, make sure that they benefit the majority of homeowners, not just you guys. And if you do it for just you guys, change it back, make it work, make it easy to change back. The third thing that actually matters when you go to sell your house is price, okay? Price is the king of all these other things, all right? We can do updates, we can do upgrades, we can, change the layout of the house. We can do a lot of different things. We can stage it, we can, paint the walls, we can take all our pictures down. There's a million things that agents want to tell you. Declutter, take your personal stuff down, make the house more livable, for the majority of people. You don't want yellow walls. But at the end of the day, the price is what determines what the house is going to sell for, or if it'll sell at all. If you overprice your house and it sits, well, then it may never sell because you've already overshot it, and then it sits on the market. And once it sits on the market for too long, people think that it's a stagnant, it's a, what's wrong with this? You've seen it. If you pulled up a house on Zillow or Realtor, your agent sent you a house and you pull it up and you're like, oh, that's been on the market for 2 months. What's going on? What's wrong with this house? Why is nobody buying it? So that's something that you've really got to consider is, where's my price at in terms of, are we on par with the neighborhood? What do the comps say the house is worth? Like, we can't just update our house so much that we think it's worth 500,000. Well, the highest house in the neighborhood sold for 250. You're not getting 500,000. I don't care if you put golden toilets in it. You're not getting 500,000. The neighborhood's going to determine what the price of the house is. Comparables, specifically within the last 30 days, are going to determine what the value is in that neighborhood. Your house isn't going to be worth 100 grand more than the next house that's sold, especially if they're comparable properties. Now, okay, but Chris, I put in a pool. Well, you put in $100,000 swimming pool. That was for you. That doesn't make the neighborhood $100,000 more. That doesn't make your house worth $100,000 more than the neighborhood. So when you buy something, you want to buy the shittiest house in the nicest neighborhood so you have room to do the updates. If you want a pool, put a pool in. We put pools in both of our houses, but it was never with the intention of getting 100 grand more for the house that you're living in. It was because we have 4 kids and we wanted to enjoy the pool. And, that was just part of it. We knew we were going to eat some of that. Yes, we may get the most in the neighborhood, but you're also limiting yourself when you put a pool in. You're only getting the buyers that want a pool. You're not going to automatically get more for your house just because I put a pool in or I did a, kitchen remodel. A lot of times that's the things they tell you. Do kitchen and bathrooms. Yes and no, okay? Kitchen and bathrooms will get you money back, but you're not going to get the money it costs. A normal kitchen costs 30 grand to remodel. You're not going to get 30 grand of an additional profit based on the other house down the street that has a stock kitchen. Yours is really nice. There's a stock. You may sell your house faster. You may get, 5 to 10 grand more maybe, but you're not going to get 30 grand more than that guy just because you remodeled the kitchen. Same thing with the bathroom, 10 to 20 grand for a nice remodeled master bath. You're not going to get that money out of it. You're just not. So what you got to consider is how long am I going to get to enjoy this? Does it need maintained? Like if the bathroom's falling apart, you got to maintain it. But do you have to put a $20,000 bathroom in? Or can we go, to Lowe's and buy a kit and put the bathroom, surround in? That's two different types of remodels. So you really got to look at the grand scheme of things. What are we doing? How long are we going to live there? Does it make sense to do this remodel for us to enjoy and then to get a little benefit when we sell? Yes. A lot of things with like staging and painting walls and stuff like that, it's not to get you more money for your house necessarily. The idea behind staging and painting the walls and decluttering and taking all your personal pictures out, the idea is to appeal to the masses. So if you have yellow walls, you may love the color yellow, but the majority of people don't want to see yellow walls. They want to see grays. They want to see, your normal colors of walls, whites, grays, any kind of neutral color, so they can imagine themselves in the house. It's not going to necessarily get you more money for your house. Basically, what it's going to do is get more eyeballs on the house, get more people in the door, get more feet in there. The more people you get in the door, the more likely you are to sell it and get offers. And then you have a different conversation. So when you're talking price, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but really the market determines the price, not any updates, not anything like that. The market's going to tell you what it's worth. So we list it and it's been sitting for, a month and you don't have any offers. Well, you're overpriced. We need to adjust the price. You can't change the location. You can't cost effectively change the layout right now. And then, so we got to adjust the price. So, if you're getting no showings at all, you're way overpriced. You're substantially overpriced, probably 10%. And then if you're getting showings but no offers, you're still overpriced. You're getting the showings, but people are saying the value is not worth it. It's not there, so we can't pay, so we're not going to make an offer. It's not rocket science. Like at the end of the day, price determines if the house is going to sell. You can sell a shitty house in a shitty neighborhood for the right price. You can sell a really nice house in a nice neighborhood for the right price. Weird layout, right price. Everything can be accomplished by adjusting the price based on what the market has told you it's worth. Yes, we pull comps. Yes, we give you a price suggestion. And yes, we have an idea, but it's only based on trends and what has sold in the neighborhood and when it sold. Okay, so like if we can pull comps and get something within 30 days, we're likely to sell in that price range. The problem is if it doesn't sell, the market determined that the house wasn't worth it. Whether we think it's worth it or you think it's worth it or not, it's really not true. The market has spoken. They've told you your house is not worth it. So then you've got to make adjustments. You can't blindly sit and wait for the house to sell because the right buyer will come around. You can't paint the walls and make it look pretty and expect somebody to buy it. Like, it's not how it works. Like, your price is too high. So adjust the price down and get what it's worth. At the end of the day, you can do all that stuff to make the house look nicer. Put mulch in the mulch beds, do all the stuff that everybody tells you. Stage it, make it look pretty. But if your price is wrong, it won't matter. None of that stuff will matter. So you've really got to look at the price. Everything revolves around price. All the stuff you do revolves around, are we pricing it right? So the main thing is price, and there's a couple different strategies you can go with on price. A lot of sellers, every seller actually, let's just be honest, wants the most for their house. I get it. let's list it high, and then the buyer's of course gonna, try to shoot me a low offer, and then we'll negotiate. My actual price is, let's just say 150. So we'll list it at 200. We'll hope they offer 150, and then we'll negotiate, and I'll get somewhere in the middle. The problem with that strategy is, well, a lot of those buyers are already saying no before they ever get in the door. They're looking at it, or they're not even looking at it because it's over their budget already. But let's just say they get the email from their agent, or they're on Zillow and they look at it and they say, okay, it's 200. Well, let's look around. We'll go take a look at it. They go take a look at it. Well, the house really isn't worth 200. You priced it that way. So we're only getting those showings from the buyers that are really, really, really wanting to be in that neighborhood, or are just out kicking tires. So that's one strategy. Like, that's great. If you want to do that, fine. That's not my style. What I like to do is list it in the lower 10% of what comparables are actually telling us the house is worth. So let's say the comps come back and say the house is worth 150, okay, to 170. That's what stuff is selling for in the neighborhood. Well, we want to be more close to the 150 price range, because I want to take advantage of the first 2 weeks on the market. That first 2 weeks on the market is crucial when you're selling a house. You get the most impact from buyers. You're going to reach the most eyeballs. Your Facebook marketing, your social marketing, your videos, your pictures, everything is going to hit all at once. And then you're going to get an influx of buyers. And then that brews competition, right? You guys have all done it. When you go to a showing and there's 27 other people, you're like, holy shit, I got to make a good offer. Well, that's true in every situation. So if you get a lot of people in the door, then you can go back and say, okay, we've got a lot of people, we've got several offers, and now we pin them together. We pin those people against each other or against their own offer to get more money for the house. And a lot of times, let's say we listed it at 150 because that was the low end of of our comps. Well, that's good. That's what we wanted. We got the buyers in, we got the showings, we got overlapping showings, we've got the action on the house, and we got multiple offers. Well, we usually end up getting more for the house. It's not guaranteed, but when you get that competition, and if you can get multiple offers, you end up getting a little more for the house, and it's usually more than you would have got if you would have listed it at the high end, let's say 170, and then let it sit for a month, and then you drop it to 160, and then people already think, what's wrong with this house? I don't even want to go look at it. And then you drop it to 150, and then same thing. And then you get desperate and drop it to 140 or 130. That's what I see a lot of times, is if you price it wrong, you end up putting yourself under the gun, and you end up making, a bad decision. I think the lower price in that part of the market, you're still getting market value. It's just the lower end of that, what's selling at the time. It's not like we're giving the house away. And honestly, I really think that you can list a house for $1. Okay, nobody has the balls to do it, of course, because everybody's scared. But nobody says that you have to accept the offer, right? If you list a house for $1, almost guaranteed you're getting market value, because those people, you're going to get 1 million showings, all right? And you may get some garbage offers from people, but you're going to get 1 million showings, you're going to have 1 million offers, and at the end of the day, somebody's going to pay market value for it because their agents are pulling the comps. The people are not dumb. People are not dumb, all right? They're going to pull the comps. They're going to see, okay, this house is worth 150. They're going to pay 150. And really, nothing's worth 150 right now. So let's just get that number out of there. $200,000 is like the minimum that you have to spend on a house now. So, it's 200. That's what it is. So if we listed it for $1, it's still going to sell for 200. We listed it for, $1 and your house is worth 500. It's going to sell for 500 because that's what the house is truly worth. I really feel and believe that that's how this works. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We can discuss the pricing strategy. I've got another video up here that we go a little more in depth about pricing strategy, and we'll kind of break it down as to how it works and what our scheme is for marketing and how we get the most eyeballs on your house.